What if you trying to be a good person is the reason why your life feels like it's in shambles? I grew up as somebody who had this notion of wanting to be a good person. I wanted to be the person that everybody liked. I wanted to be the person that never caused any issues. I wanted to be the person that nobody ever had a problem with, that everybody wanted around, that nobody ever had a bad thing to say about. And that exact thing is what caused my life to be in absolute ruins. And if you're watching this video, I guarantee that you are going through something very, very similar. I grew up as a people pleaser, like really bad. I didn't have a lick of self worth. I had no self belief. I didn't think a single good thing about myself. I was convinced I was the worst person in the world. And as a result of that, I didn't think that anybody was ever going to like me. I didn't think that anybody was ever going to love me. I had no concept of who I was or what types of friendships I wanted or what types of people I wanted in my life. It was just, I'm not enough. Make everybody want me, make everybody like me, make everybody see me in a certain light so that I don't have to deal with any discomfort. And I developed this notion of what it would mean to be a good person. Because if I was a good person, then everybody would want me around. That is where the issue started. And for so many of my clients, I work as a mental health counselor. I've worked with hundreds of people one on one. I've impacted thousands of people through platforms like YouTube and speaking engagements and going on other podcasts and the podcast that I have. And this is a massive issue that every single one of my clients face too. They are so focused on this notion of being a good person that they end up being completely walked on, completely trampled on, and disregarded by everybody. I had this idea, and a lot of my clients have this idea, that being a good person means you never have any problems. You never say anything negative to anybody. You can't stand up for yourself because you're afraid of picking a fight. You don't want to step on anybody's toes. You don't want to be perceived as a problem. And so, what I'm going to do is, I'm never going to call anybody out. I'm never going to ruffle any feathers. I'm never going to express my thoughts, feelings, and needs because a good person doesn't put that burden on other people. A good person just grins and bears it. And I'm going to suffer over here in silence. And that's going to make me a good person. That's going to make me so loved and so wanted by others, not even realizing that you're literally removing every component of yourself in order to be wanted and loved by somebody else. Do you know the types of people that want those types of people in their lives? Manipulators and abusers. And when you are so focused on being a good person, you're betraying your needs. You're disregarding your thoughts and feelings. And all you're doing is dismissing yourself in hopes that some other person is going to like you or some other person is going to want you. And the only types of people that truly want those types of people around are people who don't feel a sense of control in their own life. And so they need weak, insecure people to manipulate. Can't tell you the amount of times that I was used and abused by those types of people because they knew I had no sense of self. They knew that I was weak. They knew I was insecure. They knew that I was afraid of being perceived as a bad person and that the way that I felt good was by doing things for others. I think I put in a previous video, I was literally giving money away to people as a way to be liked and as a way to be loved because I didn't think there was anything valuable about me. And when you're living your life from that lens and from that frame of mind, you're only going to attract the types of people that want that type of person in their life. And that's what happened to me. And that's what happens to a lot of my clients. You're trying so hard to be a good person that you completely disregard yourself and you don't even see that other people are trying to get something from you and that they're trying to hurt you. And part of being a good person, quote unquote, is never seeing the wrongdoings of others. We assume everyone has the best intentions. We assume that everybody is coming from a good place. We assume that nobody would try to harm us. This is why good people end up getting stomped on. It's not because they're trying to be a good person. It's because them trying to be a good person makes them dismiss and reject and ignore and brush away warning signs of the things that other people are doing. And because we don't want to ruffle feathers, we never say anything. And so we deny and we distort and we eliminate information, and that ends up getting us harmed. We are missing data. We are missing information. We don't want to think that people are going to do bad things to us, and that leads to people doing bad things to us. In my work as a therapist, I've helped so many people overcome this. And the first step is understanding that people do hurtful things to other people. People do try to get their way. And it's not always out of malicious intent. It's not always, I'm trying to harm you, and so I am going to come and do these things to you. A lot of the times, it's coming from people who don't know how to get their own needs met, and they don't know how to influence another person, so they use what works, which is unconscious manipulation tactics like guilt tripping and coercion and all of these other tactics that every single one of us has used and had used on us. When we are trying to be good, we assume that nobody is trying to do harm, or we ignore it when they do. And so, if you want to actually have really good relationships, if you actually want to be a good person, not the bullshit narrative, but actual good person. Number one, you really have to understand that people are trying to get their needs met and they're going to try to get them met in whatever way they can. And sometimes that means harming you for them to get what they need. Now, this isn't saying have a nihilistic, cynical mindset that everybody's out to get you, but it is saying look at people accurately. Don't assume everybody has your best interest at heart. Expect the best, but have an understanding that human beings are human. And when we don't feel control, we kind of go crazy. So when someone does something, ask yourself, I sincerely want to believe that this person has my best interest at heart, But if I was going to play this game, what other reason could they have for doing this? What else could this mean? Why else might this be happening? Give yourself permission to see that there are alternatives. When you do that, you can see people more clearly and you can understand who is trying to get a need met and maybe just doesn't know how. And that's a conversation you can have with them. And who's trying to harm you and who actually is having your best interest at heart. When you do this, you see people more accurately and you stop getting yourself into these really destructive situations, which then allows you to attract good people into your life because you're not letting anyone and everyone in. And you know what the cool thing about that is? You can actually understand what values you have that you believe will make you a good person. Not having needs doesn't make you a good person, it makes you a doormat. And this is something I wish someone told me years ago. Being a good person does not mean not having needs. Being a good person does not mean letting anyone do anything they want because you're afraid of being perceived in a bad light. Because if you express a need and someone else has a problem with it, it says a lot more about them than it does about you. Because if someone actually cares about you, number one, they'll either acknowledge, hey, you having this need is actually bringing up some stuff in me. It's not about you, but this is something I got to deal with. Or if they're upset about it, it means that they're not in a place where they're able to meet your needs. And that doesn't mean that you are doing something wrong. It says a lot about them. Because someone who actually cares about you, like I said, they'll either tell you that something's coming up within them or they'll try to meet your needs because they care about you and they want your needs to be met the same way you want to meet other people's needs. And so, number two, you have to understand, what are my needs? What are my values? What do I care about? What's meaningful to me? And then live in accordance with that. People feel guilty for not doing things for other people, but it's not actually guilt, it's conditioning. Because something that's guilty, if we have a feeling of guilt, it's because we're going outside of our core values. Not harming yourself for someone else is not a core value. You've been conditioned to put yourself on the back burner for other people, and so when you don't, you think it's guilt, but really it's conditioning that bad things happen to me when I take care of me. The people we love and respect the most are the ones who put themselves first. It's the people who know who they are and they know who they are and they don't put up with shit. It's the people who, you know, if they have the capacity, they'll do what they can for you, but they're not going to go beyond themselves to do what they can for you. And we respect that. That is a good person, not being a goddamn martyr. You're not a good person for being a martyr. You're someone who doesn't have self respect and self worth. And I only know this because I was that person. And the thing is, my life started to change, and I actually started to be a good person when I stopped assuming that nobody had bad intent and I started seeing people more clearly. And when I understood that I matter and I have needs and I have values of what I believe a good person is. And you know what? Everything in my life started to reflect it. I had more friends. I had better relationships with family. I started doing way better at work. I started feeling so much better about myself. I developed actual confidence. Shocker. I went from being a doormat to being someone that people respected. And if that is something that you want, it is feasible. It is a doable thing. Like I said, I gave money away for free for shits and gigs just because I wanted someone to pay attention to me. Not doing that anymore, so don't come asking. But I'm not that person anymore. And now I do actually feel like a good person because I know what matters to me and I know who the woman is that I want to be, and I'm living in accordance with that. And that is possible for you too. And if that's something that you need help with, or if that's something that you want more guidance on, put a comment down below, send me a DM. Let's get started working together. Like I said, I've worked with hundreds of people over the last 5 years. I've done over 6,000 therapy calls, over 6,000 hours. I've helped thousands of people globally, and we can do it for you too. And I did it for myself. I think that's the most impressive thing because I was a freaking mess back in the day. And now I'm here getting to do this, talking to you. So if it was possible for me, it sure as shit is possible for you too. So send me a DM, put a comment down below, and I'll talk to you soon.